issue on the agenda is election of officers. Is everybody okay if I just move this forward? Yeah? Okay.
Yes.
Are there any nominations for chair?
I nominate Susan Jacobs for chair.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Are there any other nominations? Not hearing any. All in favor of me being chair, I will accept both condolences and congratulations, by the way, if I am elected. All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, thank you very much. Okay, are there any nominations for vice chair?
Nominate David.
I'll second that.
Are there any other nominations? All in favor of David for vice chair?
Aye.
Aye.
Any objections? Hearing none. Okay, congratulations. And condolences.
No, thank you.
Okay.
Whoosh.
Do we need a secretary?
Somebody has to take minutes.
I think
That's
half of the
Kathy.
staff.
We have staff.
Yeah.
Okay.
But is the secretary like if you guys would like to send a letter to somebody?
I mean, you should probably just appoint someone, yeah, if there's going to be some sort of correspondence, or, I mean, I don't know if there's some sort of follow-up for purposes of
Okay, so are there any?
engaging on the
yeah,
minutes.
Are there any nominations? Well, let me put it this way. Is anybody willing to be the secretary? No, I'm serious. Is anybody
Yeah,
willing to be the
that's a-
secretary? Is anybody
If
willing?
you don't have to, if you don't have to take minutes,
Right.
Right, I do that.
you do that, I'll be second.
Thank you. Okay, great.
I will nominate Pat.
Okay, we've got a team. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Fantastic. Okay, great. For those of you who don't know Nick, that's Nick. He is town attorney. Do you want to tell us something, Nick?
Sure. Nick Bamonte, I am with the law firm of Birch and Moses. We're based in Milford. My office is out of Westport. I pretty much practiced municipal law my entire career, which at this point is, I don't know, upwards of 15 years. I represent currently about half a dozen municipalities. Stepped into the town attorney role for the town of Woodbridge 2+ or so years ago. Have certainly started to get a sense for the community. And yeah, charter revision is something that I've helped other communities with before. I'm currently in the process with another municipality. New Canaan is in the midst of its charter revision process and looking at sort of comparable timelines to what this commission might be contemplating. Really, this is just an opportunity for me to help guide this commission in its duty, which is really looking at this foundational document that is the town charter. I mean, we could think of it sort of like the Constitution. There's a baseline establishment of authority, of powers, of duties that's set out in the charter. So it's obviously very important, very foundational. And then not everything has to get super granular in the charter. That's what we have ordinances for. That's what we have local board approved policies for. But really it's this commission's role to take a fresh look. There's a lot of old language in the charter that probably doesn't make sense anymore. Some things have changed in terms of best practices maybe. But the way I see my role isn't to advocate or opine in favor or against a certain initiative or thought that this group might be contemplating for a change. I just want to answer, is it legal? And is it implemented elsewhere in other municipalities? And what might that look like? And is that some sort of a good fit for this community? Is a change even necessary on a particular topic? That's the sort of exercise that we're going to work through here. But I mean, I'm not driving the bus. You guys are really in charge here, and I'm almost like staff to help out, to answer questions, to help us guide through the process and try to meet the timelines that the Board of Selectmen at least has given us. at
And
this
just
point.
big picture, you don't have to go into tons of detail on this, but just big picture, it's my understanding that we are going to report to the Board of Selectmen, and they are going to give us, they'll either like what we're saying or they won't like what we're saying, and then it goes to another step that they are in charge of, correct?
Correct, but it can very well come back
Come
to
back,
this
right.
commission for additional, I mean, part of how this commission is supposed to work is to engage with the public, to have, public hearings, to hear what the public thinks, but not just the public. Our department heads, our different town agencies, our elected officials, our appointed officials. I mean, it's up to you folks to organize how that's going to work in this pretty tight time frame that we have.
What do you call that, a tight time frame?
Well, the Board of Selectmen sets a deadline for when a draft report has to be submitted to the Board of Selectmen.
Did they set a deadline?
They set that at the last meeting, which,
It's January 27th or January 2027.
correct. So initially, there was some thought,
I'm laughing because one of the selectmen told me that we had to do this by May
That's
of this
right.
year.
That's what I
want you to clarify.
so
I think the reactions changed that date.
Correct.
But I
Correct.
think fair to say.
That's why I'm asking the question. Can you imagine? May.
well, I mean, that was a timeline that was initially contemplated, and it's not outside the realm of possibility, and the thought behind it would have been, well, we get the most turnout when there's an election, like a general election as opposed to a special election. So if we could do it for the 27 election, that would be good voter turnout, good public input, seemingly too tight of a timeline.
When was the last time this was done?
About 20 years ago, I think.
Yeah. I think
20
that's
years
right.
ago?
Yeah.
20 years ago, yeah.
Is there a schedule that's supposed to be kept?
No,
No?
I think it's suggested every 10.
right.
That's what okay.
But, I mean, we obviously have to confirm that date, and I didn't have I mean, the minutes haven't been posted when that
Right,
date
so,
was set.
but that's
so-
something that we will fine tune going forward. We don't know the exact date tonight, but just from a order of magnitude,
Yeah.
trying to turn this around in 55 days just sounded a little unrealistic to me.
No.
So, okay, all right.
No, I mean, it's a big document. Do you have to go through every single line of it? I mean, well, we're reopening it, so we should really make the most of this opportunity. But there may be areas that deserve more attention than others.
Okay.
Have we gotten any direction about areas that people would like to have looked at?
Not very much. I'm going to pass around what the Board of Selectmen at least, not stapled or anything, sorry, just take it's a 2-page document, so just take 2 pages, pass it along. This was approved by the Board of Selectmen on January 14th, and it gives some basic thoughts. This is not a charge, it is not what you are bound to, but it's some input for consideration on areas that you might want to focus in on.
So my understanding is we have to consider what the Board of Selectmen has put before us, but we can go beyond.
Correct,
Isn't it?
correct.
And we have to respond to each of their requests.
So in your report,
Do we agree or
that, correct, yeah, there has, I mean, you
Okay.
should,
So,
technically, that is how the statute
got it.
reads. If they're making some pointed, hey, we think this is something that you should consider, we should identify within the body of the report why you are moving forward on a certain topic area or why not. So,
Okay.
yeah, give reasons, basically.
You have an extra one?
Yeah, I just want to make sure we got.
So it sounds to me, we all have a fair amount to learn in terms of process. That's one challenge. The second challenge, of course, is the substantive issues. I do have a question, I'm sure other people have questions also. When your other towns have done it, like, let's say New Canaan, you mentioned, are they going, do they set their agendas forward to say, now we're gonna look at Article 1 and discuss Article 1 and then do Article 2? And so it actually is sequential?
There's a few different ways to do it.
Okay.
The way that New Canaan has chosen, they have I think they have a few more members than this group does. They may have 9. But what they've done is they've split into, I think, 3 subcommittees. And each of those subcommittees have been tasked with a certain topical area to sort of hone in on, read the language, familiarize themselves with the language, see if there's other examples in other towns, and then have a subcommittee meeting, which, yes, is another process layer, but that's how you get this stuff done. Subcommittee meeting, which is a noticed meeting, just like these meetings are. The subcommittee can then call in whoever it wants to talk to, town officers, it can have an opportunity for the public to come say whatever they want to say, and figure out what they're tasked with. I mean, basically breaking it into smaller pieces and smaller groups instead of, everyone doing the entire thing. I mean, that doesn't make much efficient sense. But I guess in order to do that, the starting point is identifying what buckets you want to split this exercise into. And I mean, you guys have to you got to study the charter. You have to see how it's organized. You have to see how the structure's laid out. You have to look at what the Board of Selectmen is saying here has maybe come up in the past and raised a question mark, or is ripe for consideration, or maybe towns don't really do it this way anymore, or maybe towns don't do it this way anymore, but Woodbridge should. I mean, I wish I could give you more like direct guidance, like this is how you do it, but it really turns on your charter.
No, we understand that. We understand that. I think we're all looking though for just sort of the process piece of it. I've asked a lot of questions. Who else has questions?
I have a quick question. So in terms of the process, so we already talked about responding to the Board of Selectmen requests for their review requests. We'll have requests from the public, we'll have requests from other appointed boards and commissions. Do we respond in kind to, say, a commission who comes in here and requests us to review certain aspects of the charter? Do we respond to them as well, or is it just solely to the Board of Selectmen?
I mean, I don't think you're going to get a bunch of commissions coming in saying, hey, this should be changed. I mean, people don't really walk into that firestorm. I mean, maybe there might be some suggestions, and if you get a direct suggestion, I would say address it in your report.
And in terms of timeline, we talked about the deadline that was provided by the Board of Selectmen. I do know that there are requirements for our first public hearing when that has to occur, and subsequently after that, what the timeline could potentially look like. Should we keep the date that the Board of Selectmen has provided us?
When you say the date, you're referencing the January?
January 27.
I mean, that's the set date that we're operating under. So there's the window to complete the work that has to be done in order to generate the report to submit to the Board of Selectmen for their input, and then whether this commission wants to continue to engage and tweak its draft recommendations further. Ultimately, it's going to go one way or the other to a referendum. It doesn't need a petition to trigger that or whatever. It's not your call, it's not the Board of Selectmen's call, it's going to be the town's call.
Do we have to have a public meeting within 30 days of this meeting or 60 days? Is there a requirement, that type of requirement, or no?
Yeah.
Will we be afforded more opportunity for more organizational meeting prior to a public hearing, or do we have to have one within a certain time frame, I guess?
I guess that is a good question. Like, are there certain benchmarks between now and January 2027 that
Yeah,
we
there
have
are.
to hit?
We know
Right.
that.
Because I think we should build that into the timeline. And then from a project management perspective, we should really be working backwards from the January 2027
Right.
deadline to get everything that's in place.
Yeah. It's interesting, I looked at several areas, because they were talking, one of the things I heard people wanted to spend some time on during this was how people are appointed to boards, whether they are appointed by the selectmen and then approved by maybe the town committee, but nominated by town committee and then approved in a couple of different ways. So I went and looked at a lot of different towns that were in our congressional district. They're all over the lot. Just big towns do it, the way little towns do it, and vice versa. It's a pretty open, doesn't seem to be a template to follow.
Standard.
Well, that's when the legislature way back passed what's now known as the home rule laws.
Right.
I mean, it really gives municipalities discretion to define how things work here. And even where there's, I mean, people struggle to believe this, but even where there's a state statute that says, okay, these are the steps that, for example, a Board of Finance needs to follow in order to pass an annual budget. A local charter, and ours does, can say something totally different than what the state statute, it's sort of like the baseline state statute, absent any other local provision. Sure, that state statute might apply, but if we have something that conflicts with the state statute, our laws trump how it works. So their discretion, there's a lot of them.
So I have a thought.
Can I just?
Yeah, go ahead.
But back on process, because if there's any sort of benchmarks we want to be thinking about right now, it's you need to do at least 2 public hearings. And before you do any substantive work where you folks start like discussing the real work you're doing, you need to have a public hearing. So that should happen like
One
next.
before substantive work and then
Yes.
another later. in the
Well,
process.
you can have it like at your next meeting, we can notice it as a public hearing. The public can come in, say whatever sort of threshold comments they might have, and then at that same meeting, you can just get right into it.
And the rules of public comment apply and all the,
So, are we moving to Freedom of Information Act?
not just yet.
Okay.
Hold that thought.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that public hearing, the agenda for that public hearing is everybody come in and tell us what you think. Basically, it's a
Yeah,
free
very,
for all.
very broad.
Very broad.
Yep.
Okay, before you get to,
Well, I still just follow every process.
we're not gonna pin down the whole process.
No, I know that, but I just want to know that we have
Okay.
2 public hearings that we have to have, one before substantive and one later on in the process.
Do you have a copy of this? I mean,
No.
everyone should have a copy.
No.
What's that?
That's why I'm asking so many questions, Nick.
All right,
Well,
guys.
actually, I'm surprised you don't have it. Why do I have it?
What is it?
The process.
I don't have that.
So, Nick, can you just email this to everybody? Sure.
I received the FOIA documents.
No, that's different.
No, I know that.
This
I
is
hear
something,
that,
a
but-
June 25, 2025 charter revision procedure and timing.
I got it.
Yeah, no, I don't.
I do not.
All right, why don't we do this? I don't even have everyone's emails,
Do you have an
so
email?
why don't you guys,
Did that come to you by email?
I don't know where I got it.
well, I have your, everyone
Yeah,
write,
right.
yeah, but just everyone please write their
I'll write
name
it.
and email address.
It probably,
Have it.
I probably said to somebody, what do you have to do? And they went like this, so who knows?
So,
in terms of structuring.
This will answer a lot of those questions.
Thank you,
In terms of
Nick.
structuring the public hearing, are we, if we want to hear from elected
Yeah, go ahead.
and appointed officials.
Yep.
I imagine we're not going to have them sit in the audience while the public is commenting. Are we,
Sure, so what you can do is set up, so what I just said is, there is a clear requirement, you need to hold 2 public, meaning the general public hearings.
As opposed to this, which is a public meeting.
Correct.
Correct, yeah.
Public hearing, when I say
I
it here, just means there's an item on a public Charter Revision Commission meeting agenda that says, public hearing. And that's just one item. We get to the item, okay, we're opening the public hearing. Whoever wants to talk, come up, introduce yourself, say whatever you want to say. Thank you. That's public, and then we can move to the next agenda item. For target audiences, you can extend a specific invitation to another meeting. And we just don't open it up to the whole public.
Yeah.
But you say, okay, this night, we're gonna open it up to the public. Check the box on one of our 2 required public hearings. This night, we're going to talk to Tony Genovese from the Finance Department.
Gotcha.
This night, so you can, yeah, try to put some reason to it.
So, any other questions on that? If not, go ahead and move to freedom of information.
So this commission,
One question on public hearings.
yeah,
We have to notice them in the newspaper, it's all public
Correct.
hearings.
yeah,
Followed all those rules, yeah.
right. So quick sidebar, just because I can't help myself. We're saying the words public hearing, okay? When I say the words public hearing, I mean a legally required opportunity for the public to come and say what they want. Like there's some obligation by some law, whether it's a local law, whether it's a state statute, that the public must have this right to come say whatever they want, and you must notify them in the newspaper, published twice, can't be within certain timeframes. That is like a legal requirement to have a public hearing, okay? Sometimes you see public comment on agendas. Those aren't necessarily required by law. There's nothing that says a board or agency can't put on their agenda public comment if they just want to invite public input, like what the Board of Selectmen does. They have boards of education, have a rolling sort of public comment item at the top of the meeting. That isn't legally required. That's not a public hearing like is required here. It's an opportunity for public comment. You could do that as much as you want here too. But if we're calling it and having a public hearing, there's going to be 2 notices in the newspaper, and it'll check the boxes for these at least 2 that we need by law.
So who's providing the administrative support to make sure that?
Yeah.
And I mean, it's not that heavy of a lift, obviously. You're through it, you know how to work it. I'm a resource.
I've never done the legal notices, we'll talk about it.
You haven't done notices, that's fine. There's,
Everybody told me I could talk to you about it.
yeah, there's a template basically, and you just gotta be good on your timing.
Oh,
And
perfect.
It's easy
Just so
enough.
everybody knows, thank you, Kathy, for agreeing to this. We appreciate, we needed to have somebody
You're welcome.
who was going to take care of that, so we appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. Sorry for that little segue.
You couldn't help yourself.
FOIA,
Thank you.
thanks everybody. I don't think it is actually.
I'll take it.
Yeah, there we go.
Oh, is it yours?
That was mine.
Oh, see?
I'll take it back.
Thank you.
Okay, so FOIA, Connecticut's Freedom of Information Act. This commission is just like any other. They're subject to the act. That means you're a public agency. That means when you have a meeting, the public has to have notice of it first and an opportunity to attend. Meeting is really broadly defined. So if you're talking to each other, emailing each other, texting each other about literally anything that might come into the conversation, you've just created a meeting. So like, I lead these conversations with do not reply all. If you get a copy of an agenda, like don't start talking about it in emails. That's an illegal meeting. So the point is, be very careful in our modern day environment now. It's very easy to reply all or do a text or something. Save it for the public meeting. I mean, that's just the best and easiest advice I can give you. The notice aspects of FOIA, that yes, when you have a public meeting, it has to be posted. Doesn't have to go in the newspaper, but it does have to go at least a day in advance. Those types of things, we'll sort out. It's not for you guys. You just got to give us the dates of when you want to meet, and we'll make sure the FOIA notices are correct and effective so you can meet and just get your work done. What else should you know about FOIA?
You have a meeting coming up in a week for all the boards and commissions.
Yeah, I of course encourage everyone to attend the academic session that's coming up on the 26th, where I'll be presenting to boards and commissions a lot more about FOIA than you'll probably need to know, but
Discussions with members of the public outside of our meetings. That, have some people make comments at some point.
that doesn't violate some FOIA rule, but the better answer is probably, hey, there's a meeting coming up, it's gonna be on TV, thanks for your input, or you can come, voice your own input, or you can watch the meeting and, see how we talk about it. I wouldn't engage that much, say, look, we're doing it in a public meeting for a reason, appreciate the input, try to keep it limited.
So listen, but don't talk.
Sure, and encourage folks to come in. That's really, it shouldn't be, siloed conversations. You guys are our body, you have, this is the opportunity for the public to come in and talk to you, publicly. I get that folks, including some folks who work for the town, may have things they might want to say that they don't want to say publicly. Anonymity isn't a thing here. I say it to all the charter revision commissions. There isn't some way to do anonymous comments or some hidden survey. It just doesn't work. So this exercise has to all be done in public, and that's how it's going to work.
Okay.
FOIA, though, let me just look at my notes and see if there's any real hot things I want you to keep front. The emails is really the biggest one. Executive sessions aren't going to apply. All right, the only other thing I'll say for now is, as a member of this commission, as technically a town official, your records, your emails, your texts, your voicemails that relate to your duties here are subject to a FOIA request. So if somebody says, hey, Pat, I want any emails or texts that you sent related to the question of an elected TPZ, you got to put it all together and cough it up.
Yep.
So I say that, just keep in mind, everything you put in writing is going to be discoverable.
Do you think that we should, as we did, those of us who are on other boards and commissions, create our own, another email for this specific exercise for FOIA requests? Should they come forward? As people went through discovery recently, I would.
Well, I don't think,
It's crazy, right?
and I certainly don't hope that this commission is going to be subject to some sort of litigation. But, I'll leave it to each of you. So this is what we say. It's easier to have all of your town emails in one account somewhere. Hopefully you're not going to be getting these requests. I just want you to know it's something that can happen. If you don't have a separate email account, it might be wise to make one and just use that for your purposes of doing your role.
So take that list that we just sent you and throw it.
Rip it up.
Well, that's all right. I want to at least send you guys some of this memo.
Right.
In some
Yes.
communities, I know what happens is the town creates emails for their government officials.
Yes.
Right.
So it goes to their server. Is that a viable option here?
No, we created Gmail email addresses for all those of us on commissions and followed the same, what do you call it, layout or address?
Naming convention?
Yes, thank you. For that, and that's how we created them. Because
Most-
the town didn't provide.
But they're
Most
dedicated-
town
but they
boards
are
and
dedicated.
commissions here do not have dedicated town
Right,
email
they
accounts.
don't.
So we should just sort of create our own file for anything that relates to this.
I mean, a file on your computer, or if talking just in the email account sense, you could go on to Gmail and, Pat Madden, Charter Revision at
Yeah.
google.com, something like that.
The one that we have for our commission that I'm on is my first initial, last name, Woodbridge, coopop@gmail.com, and then that's how we communicate from now on.
Okay,
So
I
we can
actually
have-
think that's a terrific idea, given what, well, many of us have gone through this year.
Yes.
which is,
I recommend it.
Okay, anything else then?
Those are the highlights for FOIA.
Okay. I would like to just take a moment before we go to the setting the meeting schedule and all of that. Let's just go around the table and talk about what commissions and boards and experience we have in town. Because not everybody knows everybody, and I think it might be a place to, do you want to start?
No, you can start.
Okay. I'll start.
You're the chair, I think you should start.
My name is Susan Jacobs. I have been on the Board of Selectmen, the Board of Finance, the Amity Board, the Beecher Board, the Inland Wetlands Commission. I have been liaison to the Library Commission, Fire Commission, Police Commission. I've been in all of them at some point or another. I've managed to go to a lot of meetings over the course of 35 years. In fact, I think if you go outside in the library, it says renovation such and such a year, Susan Jacobs Chair. I'm very proud of that plaque. I love that plaque. Cynthia, what about
It's a
you?
lot to,
So, this is my first official appointment in Woodbridge. I do sit on the Land Trust Board of Directors. I'm the Vice President. I will say that I have a lot of experience with town committees because for 30 years I've been a municipal attorney. So the process is not unfamiliar to me.
Oh, I should have mentioned I'm also a lawyer. Yeah, go ahead.
oh, and an author.
We'll forgive you.
And that's probably all that's really relevant to this commission.
Okay. My name is Pat Madden. Let's see, I was Republican town chairman for a number of years. I was a state senator representing this district for a couple of years. I now sit on the Human Services Commission, and I walk my dog 3 times a day.
My turn? Okay. I am the chair of COOPOP. I'm also a lawyer. I'm the chair of COOPOP. I was on housing for a short period of time. I am the chair of the Woodbridge Democratic Town Committee. I also have a plaque in town, which I'm very proud of, for the dog park. I was the vice president of the dog park, and my name's on that. I'm very excited about that. Jeez, I feel like I'm missing things, but,
And you're a lawyer.
and I'm a lawyer, yes, I said that. Yes, so that's one of my, I guess, from my experience. Your turn.
My name is Melissa Durso. I am a lawyer as well. This is the first time I've been appointed to any type of commission or board, but I have extensive experience on the state government side of things, drafting state legislation, testifying before state legislators, working on FOIA matters as I worked for a quasi-public agency.
Kathy, you're famous.
I'm famous. Kathy Trosky, I worked for the building department for the last 12 years here in Woodbridge. I do minutes for EMS and conservation, and I did the housing way back when it first started.
That's, yeah.
Yep,
Yep.
and now I'm here.
Perfect. Jeff?
I am Jeff Ginsberg. I am also a lawyer. And I think my claim to fame in the town of Woodbridge is to be the chair of the Woodbridge Tennis Court. Back in the Nan Bird Whistle.
Do you have a plaque?
But he's got a hell of a backhand.
But that was back in the day when I was playing a lot of tennis. Now that I've gotten so much older, I'm playing pickleball. I have been the town moderator over various numbers of years. I am the town representative to the GNH WPCA. There's 5 towns that are members of the local organization, which manages our sewers here in Woodbridge, even though we don't have that many sewers in Woodbridge. But I was on the sewer commission back in the day, and I am currently on the Board of Assessment Appeals. I've been chairman for the past 2 years, and that's it.
David?
Dave Vogel, not a lawyer. And been served 2 terms on the Board of Selectmen. Currently Republican town chair. And while I was on Selectmen, I was on the Strategic Planning Committee as well as the Ordinance Committee,
So I think
subcommittees.
it's important that we do that, and here's why. All of us at this table, we bring a lot of wisdom as well as knowledge to this process. And I think that's what this process calls for. We need to know things, but we also need to be able to process it at a level that looks 10 years in the future, 15 years in the future, 20 years in the future. What does this signify? There's a lot of wisdom at this table. So I think we're going to be, the process is going to be tedious in the extreme. I think we can all agree to that. And putting up with all of these lawyers is going to always be a problem. Believe me, I get it. But I think I take great solace, if you will. This responsibility, I think, is in positive hands, and I feel good about that. So I want all of us to feel good about that. We have to set some meeting dates.
Sounds like our next meeting should be the public hearing.
Correct.
End of March.
But it
right?
also sounds like we should possibly, do we want to meet before then, Nick, and just sort of talk maybe how to divide the work up, how to think about the work, how to process all of this? Should we meet ahead of the public hearing and do that? Like maybe meet an hour ahead and just combine it that way?
You can't, just to talk logistics.
Right.
Yeah, without getting into the nitty-gritty of
Correct.
what you're doing. Yeah, I think that would be prudent.
So organizational versus sensitive is what we can do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
but that can also, it could happen on the same night, you could do it, you can schedule the public hearing for a time, you can slot in an
Yeah.
organizational component.
I'm just trying to be
Or-
efficient. If that sounds like too much, we can just make it 2 separate meetings.
Well, I think it might be useful to have an organizational meeting so we kind of have an idea of how we're going to attack this thing. Because if I were coming to the public meeting, that'd be the first question I would
Right.
ask, is how are you guys going to deal with this?
And it may be that if we have an organizational meeting, we may not have to decide that night, but I think we should at least take it upon ourselves to do some reading. Everybody get oriented and take a look at the charter. I looked at it today. It's fairly, it's not wordy.
No, it's compact.
It's compact. So it's not all that dense to get through. But I know I'd feel better at a public hearing if I knew that we had spent some time sort of talking through the process a little bit.
And I don't think you're going to answer,
Right, we're
So-
there
some
to be
of-
sponges. Yeah.
well, yeah, but even on process, you can have the initial organizational discussion to whatever extent we can, but then if you're contemplating, sort of divvying up the workload,
Right.
you still don't really know what the
What the
workload
workload is,
is
yeah.
until,
Fair
and I
enough.
think the public input will maybe inform some of that, or
Okay.
at least help you organize things into whatever buckets.
So what we can say tonight is if we meet before the public hearing, the same night or whatever, our homework between now and then is to review the charter individually, absorb as much of the procedure, I suppose, as we can.
I'll distribute my 3-page process memo
Right.
too that
And
just
we are
puts.
so looking forward to that.
Yeah, that,
And
Yeah.
take a look at whatever the Board of Selectmen, what we passed around,
Mhm.
which you're going to email. Then meet have a chat about that and then have the public hearing, which, as you say, is really just to get input. What kind of date are we looking at?
Well, you probably are available end of March, is that when you're available for the public hearing?
Well, it's not so much I'm out of the country for the next 3 weeks.
Right.
So that's issue number one.
That would put a little bit of a,
A little harder.
yeah, a little harder. I don't think you want to zoom in.
Even if I could. So are we looking at the week of March 23rd? Do people have, well, we're looking in the week after that, the week of March 30th.
Are there any school vacations at that point?
I don't
School
know if it's in there.
vacation is the week of
Past them.
April. It's April 13th through the 17th.
Yeah.
There,
Passive with the week of April 1st?
yeah, there is no school on the 3rd of April.
Can
So
we
in
do the
March
March,
is when?
well,
I'm sorry, when did you say school break is?
April 13th, the week of the 13th through the 17th.
Well, how quickly do you think should we do this as soon as possible or give ourselves a little time?
I mean, I think you can,
Go into April?
I mean, if you wanted to,
I mean, it is not a heavy lift to set up an initial public hearing.
yeah.
Um,
Can I throw a date out?
March 26th.
March 25th.
Oh, Wednesday night, March 25th? How do people feel
We all have
about that?
different commission meetings
I
on
have
that.
a board meeting at night.
Okay, I can't do the 26th.
That's why I thought you can't do,
How about March 30th?
we are gonna have conflicts no matter what we do.
Yeah,
Yeah, we are.
I mean, some of us are just gonna have to,
What about
Miss
March
a meeting.
30th or March 30th?
March 30th.
What day, is that a Wednesday?
Monday.
Monday?
This is for what, a public hearing?
And just given
Our
that we're
first
gonna
public
be
hearing.
3
Yes.
weeks, I think we ought to do the public hearing and our organization at the same time.
Right.
We're not
Yeah.
gonna get
Everybody together.
everybody together, so we can just listen to people and then
Yeah,
start
no,
sorting
I
out
agree.
when we have our.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe we can get a certain, are we thinking monthly meetings? Are we thinking,
I hadn't gotten that far.
well,
That's my
maybe that
next
would be
question.
something we could
Yeah.
sort of
If,
look
I'm
at
sorry,
schedule.
Dave. You know, the other thing to consider, if we choose a date for the public hearing, and is to ensure that there's space for us to have a public hearing. I mean, my guess would be with the schedule for committees and commissions, standing committees and commissions that already have dates in town hall, we probably have to use the Center Cafe for our public hearing, and so we could tentatively schedule, like if we did pick the 30th of March, and then double check that we can actually schedule the cafe for that hearing and confirm.
Let's get started. It's the 30th,
Are we all available the 30th?
as far as I know.
Nick, you'd have to be there, right? Are you available March 30th? Ish?
Yeah, I
Monday.
mean, my schedule's terrible too, so let's say, yeah, the 30th. I'll have to make it
Or the
work.
30, was the 31st a
The
problem?
31st is the definite no for
Yeah,
me.
that's a definite no, okay. So cafe,
I'm good.
okay, we're looking at the 30th.
My babysitting should stop on the 13th,
Okay,
so I'm good.
that was on my mind.
I know, I was waiting for you to say that. Wait a minute.
Well, I was trying to keep boundaries here, okay. So I think what we probably want to do is have us meet 5:36 and have the public hearing start 7. Does that sound reasonable to everybody?
Great.
Because we may have to continue the public hearing depending on how many people show up.
We can just have to sit there until midnight.
Yeah.
And so we have to continue the public, I don't know, is there a rule about how late? we-
You don't have, yeah, so the chair can set sort of at the start of the meeting, like, hey folks, we're gonna have a hard stop at 10:30, 10, what, I mean, you guys pick a number, but, and then say, look, we'll come back and have another public hearing. I mean,
Yeah,
you can stay as late as you want, you can, I mean,
right. We've all done a lot of public hearings in our lives. We kind of know how that, I thought, okay.
Is it fair to put time limits on people speaking?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, you
There could be a
just
lot
say,
of
look, if there's a lot of people in the, you all have been through this a lot, plenty, but a lot of people in the room, let's try to keep it to 3 minutes, everyone gets a
Right.
shot, we don't want to be here till whenever.
I just think as we get later in the evening, people go home, we all get tired, they
Sure.
get tired. So
Well-
I think it's important to at least consider the possibility that we may have to continue to another night.
I mean, it's an option that you have
Right.
available to you.
Right.
You can make that call at night if
Yeah.
if there's a lot of people, yeah, and then
Do you have
just
to
say
give
it
us
to
notice ahead of time? later?
No, I would definitely.
No,
not
if you
give them
continue
that.
it, we'll just notice it again.
Got it,
For,
okay.
Right.
the next
Public
one.
notice?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
announce the date
For
and time.
this-
However, the
Here.
rule would have to be that you've already given us, if you've already spoken, you don't get to speak again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Somehow
mean, if
we'd
you're
have-
bringing
somehow we'd
in
have
new
to-
information or something, I mean,
You have to keep track of who has spoken, because if you speak again,
Well, they'll sign in, right?
they'll sign in,
Yeah.
we'll have to have that monitored somehow. Okay?
Can people submit written things?
yes,
Yeah.
Yes.
absolutely.
And then for our-
Encouraged.
But they have to be identified.
Well, yeah, I understand.
It
that,
can't
but
be
I ju-
anonymous, it has to be, I'm
Well-
so-and-so on such and such a road.
Agreed.
Here are my written comments, yes.
Gotcha.
And then moving forward for our standing monthly meetings for scheduling purposes, do you want to try like the first Wednesday of the month? Or-
Do we want to do, well, let me ask you a question, from a FOIA point of view, can the chair and the vice chair have, we can talk.
Yes, so let me, actually,
Takes 3 people.
I'd like to come back to that,
I just want to clarify,
and before I do that,
yeah. I mean, I think it's important from an administrative point of view that we have access to those conversations.
the first, if we are talking about some sort of standing meeting, the first Wednesday of the month would actually be ideal for me. But
Yeah, like thinking.
I want to say something else about FOIA meetings. Thank you. So I talked about how it's very broadly defined. It's a meeting if it's some sort of communication amongst a quorum. Okay, so what do we have here? 7, so there's, a total of 4.
Quorum is four.
Can't be talking to each other. Now, is there some wiggle room for less than 4 of you to talk to each other? Yes, technically there is. I would still not really encourage it.
I get it.
Like,
Yeah.
do your work here, but just for the sake of getting efficient business done, sometimes conversations have to be had. But yes, that,
Keep it under 4.
yeah, if need be.
Is there going to be some sort of a file or folder in a scanned-in network sort of thing for our work?
There should
that's
be.
gathered?
I know
And
Alice.
where would it be gathered?
Yeah. I'll have to talk to town staff on some sort of SharePoint, cloud repository. I don't want us to have like a Google document that everyone has real-time access to change, like edit or
I don't
whatever,
like
because
that.
yeah, confusing, and it creates a meeting basically
Yeah.
under FOIA anyway. But there should be one place that we all can click into so that, this is what I'm envisioning, and I will try hard to get this implemented for you guys. I'm not going to be doing it, but you should have a packet, like any other board, like when you have a meeting coming up, if there's certain materials that you're going to be looking at, or that's relevant for the discussion, or there's written comments that have come in the certain time frame before the meeting, those should all be dumped into some cloud folder that we all have
Right.
access to.
Right. And we just need a 4-year-old to set it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, and then we self-manage it.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
just setting it up, I will follow up on that.
So
we'll
there
do
was
the
talk
first
about
Wednesday?
the first Wednesday of the month. Now, that would be April 1st, maybe that works. We just slide right into the meeting and we start working.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that, guys?
I'm good with
I
that.
believe that is April 1st, then May 6th,
This,
then
we're talking,
June 3, et cetera.
what day of the week?
So Wednesday, first Wednesday of the month. And I would prefer 6 o'clock. How do you all feel about that?
Right.
That's fine.
That's fine.
Is that okay? Instead of 6:30?
Now, do we, just like boards and commissions, should we publish
Yep.
the full year of meetings?
Yep.
So we should double check there aren't any
Well-
holidays and things like that.
I assume it's like with quasi-publics, if you do a special meeting, you can't change the agenda. But
Correct.
if you do a standing meeting, then you can change the agenda if you need to, as long as you meet the
But you can
timelines
schedule a
and timeframes.
special meeting if
You
you have.
Can.
No, no,
your
that
agenda
is
just doesn't
different.
stay.
So here's what we need to do. We need to map out whatever the first Wednesdays for the next year. Put those on a list. We can,
It has to
Susan,
get
you can
filed
call
with
a
the town
vote, you
clerk.
can
No, yeah, I do that.
vote, you can
Yeah.
call a vote tonight that that'll be our list. Someone can put the list of those dates together and submit it to the town clerk. That will be your list of regularly scheduled meetings. So, what that means is you can basically just amend those agendas as long as you have a day before the meeting. You can sort of tweak those agendas. In between those, if you need to call a special meeting, you can do so. There's just more limitations to how you can sort of
And
tweak.
somebody remind me, how far in advance of the meeting do we have to file the agenda?
I always do
just-
40 hours.
48 hours,
48
I don't
hours.
think you need, I think it should
Yeah.
be 24, but.
So, are we doing, are these going to be hybrid meetings or just in-person meetings? It's really the agency's call. And what I mean by that is you can open up hybrid participation by, for example, when you're having a public hearing, folks don't all have to show up. There's different, different bodies do it differently.
So we're talking about just the public hearings, not our Wednesday meetings.
Whatever you guys want, if you got, so under the law, members of the agency, not members of the public, members of the agency have the baseline right to participate in one of your meetings remotely. So it's up to you guys if you want to have hybrid like Zoom meetings, like some of you can be here in person, or if you can't make it, you could Zoom into it. That's what I refer to as a hybrid meeting. If you do that, that doesn't magically now open it up to all the public to participate hybrid, but you can't. Do you follow that?
But then who manages it? I know commissions have staff, they're
Yeah.
monitoring the chat and who has their hand up. We don't have that capability.
That's true.
We have this every meeting, public.
So this is going, public TV,
We
as
have
far as I
all of our
know,
meetings.
they're going to be broadcasting the meetings.
We can, but even that is questionable. Like, for instance, you're not sure why you're here tonight, right?
Well, right now, we are one thing that may change is that we are waiting on our first meeting of the Government Access Television Commission, which has not yet occurred. We do suspect that when that happens, we're probably going to be a little adjusted in terms of exactly what meetings we end up covering. I think public hearings, we could probably push a little more towards making sure those get on the air. I'm not sure about regular meetings right this
Right.
minute.
Okay.
I think hybrid's going to be problematic for staff.
Go ahead.
Well, I think it's not problematic if it's a regular meeting of the commission. So if one of us is traveling or unavailable, a hybrid meeting is viable because there aren't a lot of people trying to.
And that's fine, we don't even have to notice it as a hybrid meet in that
Right.
sense. It only needs to be noticed with a public Zoom link if you're letting the public Zoom in. Otherwise, you will always have the baseline, right? Oh, I'm stuck, or whatever, babysitter fell through, I gotta Zoom in. You folks will always have that opportunity.
Well, I can tell you, the 2030 Commission, what we used to do is sort of decide meeting by meeting whether or not we wanted to have a hybrid option, because people were moving out of town or whatever. And it was also, well, COVID was still going at the
Yeah.
end, which was a separate issue. So I don't know that we have to decide tonight
I don't think you do.
how we want to do it. I will tell you, I think given the, sort of the deep dive that we have to do into this document as a group, it's a better and more dynamic process if we're all at the same table. At least at the beginning.
Yeah.
I don't know if other people have had that experience, but that's just my experience. You get more done, you communicate better. So my suggestion would be, let's have the first several meetings as best as we can to be in person. Obviously, if somebody's sick or something, that's different. And then if we want to hybridize going forward, we can talk about it.
Yeah, human services, yeah, people show up. But sometimes somebody's traveling, somebody's whatever, so usually it's just by phone that they'll come in because we don't have the capability
Right.
to do Zooming. But participation is better than not.
Right. Right. Does that sound reasonable? Let's try that. Okay. So I think what I'm hearing is a kind of consensus. So can I get a motion that we set our regular meetings for 6 PM, first Wednesday of the month, location to be determined?
So moved.
So moved. I got a motion. Is there a second? Cynthia seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Any objections? Any abstentions? Okay.
And I provided the dates to Kathy, so she will have that for us.
Okay.
And I suppose, do we have to vote on that the next meeting, our actual schedule? or no?
First
That's-
Wednesday of the
Just-
month.
Yeah,
We just did.
You just did, yeah.
Yeah, that's
Just did.
And there's no holidays?
not that I
Nope.
could see, but I would like if someone could just confirm any religious holidays that may fall within this, the fall. Apple wasn't giving me a lot of information in my calendar, understanding.
Yeah, mine only
holidays.
has.
Well, between,
Like September and October timeframe, I just would want to double check that there are any religious holidays during
Oh,
September.
sorry.
No, Hanukkah is the 5th of December.
Did at the same time.
It's a Saturday.
All right, so the second still would work in December.
and what about September or Christmas?
Second.
Friday. All right, I think nobody's identifying any conflicts here. Thanksgiving's always on a Thursday, right? Okay, so we've got a vote, first Wednesday of the month.
Perfect. And we confirm March 30th will be the meeting, we'll have
What time?
organizational meeting.
That
What
would-
time would you like?
I suggested 5:30, and then
Okay.
we have the public hearing at 7.
Great.
Also location to be determined,
Right.
because we don't have control over that.
Is it public hearings when? What time?
March
7.
7, 5:30 for us, 7 for the rest.
Do we need a motion for that?
Sure.
To accept that?
Might
I'll make
as
a
well.
motion.
Yeah.
All right, we've got a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Can we have a discussion about that, please, before everybody votes on it? What are we talking about? I didn't hear it. I'm writing something else down.
Okay, okay.
Organizational, March 30th at 5:30, we will meet for an organizational meeting, and the public hearing will begin at 7 PM.
On the
March-
30th.
On
March
March
30th.
Monday,
30th.
Monday,
Monday, March 3rd.
March 30th. And then our regular meetings will commence 2 days later. Okay,
So
Yeah.
we'll be meeting 2 days later.
so that
Yeah.
week will be a busy week.
Okay.
Don't plan anything else, folks, okay? Never mind, some of us have stuff going on, but we'll make it work. All right, I need a vote, all in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Okay, anybody object? Abstention, no, okay. Any other administrative stuff we have to deal with? I think we covered everything on the, Kathy, you're gonna have to let us know, like, where.
Oh, yeah,
it's gonna be,
I'll find out
okay?
tomorrow.
Any other issues anybody wants to bring up?
Well, did we just want to follow through on the email? Are we going to use a naming convention that we're going to create new accounts for? I just wanted to
I think we should
clear.
discuss that and make them all standard.
Right.
Are you going to publish minutes?
Yeah.
Maybe you can put whatever decision about the email in that minute so it comes to all of us in writing. If we're going to have a separate email
Right,
for this.
You guys have to let me know.
why not just
It should be the first, what we did with the other ones, and I think you had the same.
Just sjacobs, .crc@gmail.com.
Yeah, it was first initial, last name, charter, woodbridgecharter@gmail.com.
Okay, so I don't care what it is from you.
Well, I just wanted to.
First initial, last name.
So everybody has to do theirs, let me know, and then I'll post it in the minutes.
If you would just post the format,
Woodbridge Charter,
Before that-
that's long, right?
so we know what,
How about WCRC?
That's why I said
Oh,
CRC,
WRC.
that's why I said CRC. It's a lot shorter.
So is it
I'm
CRC or
using Gmail.
WCR?
I don't care.
WCRC.
WCRC, I like that.
Do you want me to write that?
So first initial, last name, WCRC
I was gonna say, I
@gmail.com.
was just gonna do that for
Everybody get that?
WCRC.
We're gonna put a period after the first initial?
your
period
No.
after the name, right?
No.
memory of the last.
So
30 seconds.
sjacobs.wcrc@gmail.com.
Sure. You
Is
want
that
to
what
put
you
dot
said?
in? We
I
can
don't
put dot.
care.
Johnson
I
doesn't,
thought that's what you
Gmail
said.
doesn't do dots, right?
Gmail doesn't, no, they do.
Yeah, they
It
do.
doesn't matter whether you have them or not.
Oh,
That's-
interesting.
Oh,
No.
really?
I
Also,
like
no
that.
dot.
You can
Okay.
leave out the dots.
I'm gonna do it one more time, people.
Okay.
sjacobs, WCRC@gmail.com.
I love it.
Yeah.
As soon as the camera goes off, I'll tell you the irony of all that.
No doubt.
One other funny stories.
Okay. This is very productive. Is there anything
Thank you
else
very much.
that we need to talk about? Or share, or,
How many chapters are there in the,
oh, I looked today, I forgot. It's right on the website, the town website. I don't remember.
So if we're gonna have a SharePoint of some sort, maybe we put a copy of the charter in that, so we're not all flipping around.
Well, the charter is available on the town website, so
That's what I
what's the big
just
deal?
said.
Yeah, but I think having a copy in place.
If we get a written copy, like a book, that would be nice.
Just print it out.
The town clerk should have official binders, up-to-date binders, so I can ask her.
Yay.
oh, that would be
I
great.
love an official binder. There you go.
Big notes.
Oh, bring it
Other-
here.
Otherwise, yeah,
I love a binder.
we can,
Yeah.
I love a binder.
Who doesn't love a binder?
I like electronic.
It looks to me
You're so
like,
young.
You kid, you.
I like paper.
it's, I don't know, I can't tell you how many
I'll bring it.
pages this translates to.
Yeah.
It's not terribly, it's not terrible.
it's not,
But
I
it's very
printed it.
short, I
I
think.
have a
It's not
binder in
that
my
bad.
office. It's-
Yeah. I can tell you that I looked through.
I went through it quickly and just looked thick.
Works.
Yes.
Yeah, but I don't know how to,
The ordinances are long,
Can you print it without clicking?
Ah,
very well.
but the
we're not
charter is
dealing-
not.
Yeah.
We're not dealing with ordinances though, right?
Well, you need to know, the ordinances give flesh to the bones of the charter.
Right.
So you need to know the ordinances.
Are they organized within that so we know which ordinance goes where?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but we have no authority to discuss modifying the ordinances. Anything we put in there would just be in furtherance of a report.
Right.
This is what we think should happen.
right, but if something has been thought of before, it would be in an ordinance.
You put everything into perspective, I think, as you're reviewing the.
Well, I think to Jeff's point, one of the problems is sometimes the ordinances and the charter are inconsistent. Am I right about that? That's been like discovered over the past decade that there's some inconsistencies. So there's a housekeeping piece to this,
Yeah.
and there's also a going forward piece to this.
There's some dates
That's what I mean. I mean, those are like housekeeping
That are-
issues.
that
Yeah,
are inconsistent
Wrong,
because we've
right.
changed things.
right.
Right.
That sounds like a subcommittee.
Okay. Anything else?
I was wondering about these 9 criteria. Because, just to give an example, just take the first one, just for the sake of discussion. It says, increase direct democracy, that is the bedrock, blah, blah, blah. That assumes that there isn't direct democracy. Now, I mean, we should, all of us know whether we believe that there's not enough direct democracy. And every single time the next one if you go down the list, it says increase and then another catchphrase, which implies that the next word is not enough.
Correct, and it's my understanding that some of this consolidated document is sourced from a vote of dissent that came out of a different document. So I don't know really whether this is going to reflect our consensus.
But it would be useful for us at our next meeting to go around the room and hear what each person thinks about direct democracy, direct accountability, opportunity for participation. So we
I
all
agree.
know where we stand on some of these issues before we start having lengthy conversations.
I'm going to suggest that we do that at our April 1st meeting rather than right before the public hearing. Because the public hearing, I think we're going to have our hands full.
Right.
And it's
I think,
sensitive.
and I think we're going to want to be organizational in terms of how we're going to divide the work up. But Jeff, the same thing occurred to me, which is at some point, we're going to have to get in the weeds and kind of see where we are. And I think maybe that would be our first meeting.
Yeah, I'm not talking about getting in the weeds in this first meeting, but I think
Well,
for
I'm
us all
talking
to
about this,
have
yeah.
a sense of where we all are, so that,
Yeah.
because we're all colleagues in this, we're collegial, and we should all know we should all be on the same team in the same boat. And I want to know what you guys think. I don't want to just know what I think or what some other like-minded person thinks. I want to know how everybody feels about some of these, because these are bedrock concepts.
Well, can we ask the selectmen for clarification if we're not certain of what they're asking us? Because we have to respond to their, I don't know if it's mandate.
I'm not really caring about that. I'm caring about what we all think. We're the ones that are tasked.
Well, I would suggest that the April 1 agenda include as an agenda item that we have that discussion. We can go around the table and talk about it, and I think we should, my personal feeling is that that's the night to be philosophical, you know, and go to 30,000 feet. Feel free to wear a white wig and a colonial jacket if it occurs to you to do that.
Wow. Costume party.
Well, I mean, we're going founding fathers here, guys, you know, like that. But I think you're exactly right. Those are founding principles. We're talking principles at that point. Yeah, no, I
And
agree.
keep in mind, I mean, the page 1 of this document, those 9 principles are principles that the Board of Selectmen, or at least certain members of the Board of Selectmen, saw fit to represent in the way they did. And then page 2 says, with all of that stuff in mind, which we think, here's the revisions you guys might be interested in considering. But yeah, I mean, let's level set with everybody.
Yeah, I agree.
God loves us all.
I think this is their shot at that,
Right.
at this stuff.
I think that there's no escaping these 2 pages, and we should deal with it right at the beginning.
That's a good point.
Fair
Because if
enough.
we stick to what's been told to us are our guiding principles, we can't screw up. We stick to these principles and we follow through with them.
We can disagree with it.
Oh, totally.
I mean, I don't take those as directions. I take them as, that was their feelings.
Answered the question.
We need to answer the questions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't want to get too deep into it tonight because it's not on the agenda.
Right.
Okay, so let's put it on the agenda for our April 1st meeting. And in the meantime, I'm going to make sure that David and I understand what's going to happen the night of the public hearing.
It actually goes under number 7, Steve, to be honest.
Well,
See?
you're a generalist, I'm not.
We're all lawyers here. That's the joke.
You know what, if we weren't on camera, I would say that. Okay.
We can make it fit somewhere.
Oh my God. Sorry, public. Okay, anything else? I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move.
For a second.
Second.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.
At 8:45.